Welcome all to Aksharabhya's story time. It's been 6 months since we all met, isn't it? And now we are into a new beginning. Happy New Year to one and all. Let this new year bring in more good vibes and make us all stay together. In that way, let's resume with our fun of listening to stories all together.
It's been 6 months since we all met, and the crow is back to resume from where it left. You all know that we have been discussing about the Kakolukiam chapters of the Panchatantra stories, isn't it? Yeah, it all started with the war between the crows and the owls and how Meghavarna and the other crows, under Stirajivi's advice, burnt all the owls in Arimardana's cave. Then we heard the flashback story, right, about the reason for the enmity. In that, the crow advised the birds with a story how to choose their king. Hope you all remember. In the end, it did say, don't be like the hare and the partridge in choosing a wrong mediator. So, here comes our next story about the cunning mediator. Okay, let's jump into the story. Now the crow started saying, in the same tree that I lived, a small bird named Kapinjala made a hollow in the tree as its house. After sunset, we both were comfortable in each other's company, discussing many things. We even shared our views about literature, travel, songs, stories of the past, and spent our time happily. One day, Kapinjala flew along with other birds in search of food grains and did not return even after nightfall. I got so worried and anxious, thinking what happened to him, as he would never miss my company if he was safe. Days passed and there was no trace of him. One day, a hare named Shigraha quietly came and occupied the hole. Even I didn't bother much as there was no news about Kapinjala and kept quiet. But all of a sudden, Kapinjala came back, remembering his house. But this time, he was looking more plumpier and healthier. As it is rightly said in Sanskrit, Natadrigjayate saukyam api swarge sharirina daridryopi hi yadriksyat swadishe swapure grihe. Meaning, the comfort found in one's own place, be it country, town or home, even during poverty, is much higher than that can be found even it be a heaven. Kapinjala, seeing Shigraha in the hollow, said, "Oh, hare, this is not your place, so move away from here at once." Shigraha said, "How do you say that? Haven't you heard elders say that no one has the right over public places like temples, wells and trees? Further, whoever strays in the place for more than 10 years becomes the owner of that place, says Manusmriti even." Now Kapinjala said, "Oh, you are quoting from scriptures. Then let's consult some expert." So they both agreed to go, and even I followed them to see what happens. I was so curious. Come children, let's also go. What's happening? Meanwhile, a wild cat named Tikshnadamshtra, that is sharp teeth, who was overhearing them, set a show on their way as though he is a great scholar, standing on one leg with the holy grass darba in his hand, started reciting from scriptures and said, "This samsara is worthless and a misery. Life is just a drama. Dharma is the only way to salvation, etc., etc. Listening to all this, Shigraha, the hare, told Kapinjala, "Hey, come on, let's ask and consult him." Kapinjala said, "He's our enemy. Let's stand far and ask him." But immediately Tikshnadamshtra, the cat, said, "Oh, now I am in the path of ahimsa. I will not harm anyone. And I have become old. I cannot hear you. Please come closer and I shall solve your dispute." When they both reached closer, you know what happened? He pounced on them, grabbed the sparrow by his teeth, and slashed the hare with his leg and killed them and ate them. Now the crow said, "That's why I tell you all birds, if you rest your faith in this wicked and day-blind owl, you will meet the same fate as the hare and the sparrow." So this is happening in the Mahila Rupya. Yes, listening to all this, the birds agreed and they dispersed. Now the blind owl was still sitting to be crowned and wondering why still the coronation was not happening. At this moment, the owl's wife, Krikalika, said, "My lord, the crow has sabotaged the coronation and all the birds have dispersed. Only the crow is here, and so let's also move." Hearing this, the owl became furious and shouted, "You wicked crow, what harm have I done you? I will never forget this, and from this day there shall be enmity between us." Remember how the enmity started? Yeah, this is how. Feeling miserable, the crow started thinking, "Why did I do this? I should not have been the reason for this enmity." That's why elders say a wound on the body heals better than a wound in the heart. Thiruvalluvar in Thirukural has said, "தீயினால் சுட்ட புண் உள்ளாரும் மாறாதே நாவினால் சுட்டவடு." So we have to be very careful when talking. Okay, so now Meghana asked Sthirajivi, "How do we protect ourselves?" Sthirajivi replied, "The learned have said, with great common sense and a little bit of deceit, one can win stronger enemies like the trickster who cheated the gullible Brahmin." Now, you all know the topic of our next story. Until we come back, enjoy and keep thinking about the story by giving up a thumbs up to us and share it to others too. Now, the story section is over. We come to the science section. As always, there should be some learning, right? Okay, now what is the science factor that we are going to learn from this story? We all know that birds make trees as their home and live in it, right? So, we think only the trees are helpful for the bird, isn't it? But do you know, children, it is the other way round too. Yes, children, trees need the help of the birds as much as the birds need the trees. Very interesting, right? Now, let's see. Birds depend on the trees for their shelter, mating and feeding. However, you will be surprised to know that trees depend on birds more. In fact, they share a symbiotic relationship, children. You want to know how? Now, open your ears and listen. There are 5 ways how birds help trees. Let's go to the first one. The first one is pollination. They carry the pollen from one flower to another, thus helping fertilization. You know, in the absence of these birds, some trees might not even exist. They might become extinct, and few others could not bear fruits true. So you know now pollination is the main reason for getting fruits and more trees. Yeah. The second one is dispersal of seeds. Yeah, how does the seeds get dispersed? We all know plants cannot move on their own. One more concept. If you all have noticed, many plants don't grow near the parent plant and compete with their nutrients. It's with the help of the birds, the seeds get dispersed to different locations through the crows or the birds, and the seeds that come out of their undigested fecal matter, they get dispersed and the trees grow. Okay. Now the third one, they reduce insects. Yes. Insects cause a lot of damage to the crops and spreads a lot of diseases too. The only way to keep a check on it is to have lots of birds around us. So if you want to keep the insects at bay, have more birds. Okay. Now the next two things are, they help in control of excessive weed growth and fertilize the soil with their droppings. Okay. Now until we come back, stay safe, enjoy, and see you soon.